To bake bread, you need 4 ingredients: water, flour, salt, and yeast. To bake this particular bread, this is a Russian braided bread, you need 3 additional ingredients: 2 tablespoons of butter, 1/4 cup of sugar, and 1 egg. For this particular demonstration, I wanted to bake some with all-purpose flour and a batch with bread flour. Now, to bake this bread, you need a bread machine. You don't really need one, but that's how I prefer it because it does all the work for you. But first of all, you're going to start with 1 cup of warm water, 1 egg, and 2 tablespoons of butter in your bread machine. Of course, the water is to activate the yeast. Then you need to add 3 1/4 cups of flour, a packet of yeast. And I say a packet, the recipe calls for 3 teaspoons of yeast, but apparently in this pandemic, yeast is like toilet paper. You can't find it. So I don't usually buy fast acting, but this is 2 1/4 teaspoons. And that's what I used in this particular, but it usually just takes, I just usually use the ones that you get in a bottle, just regular active yeast. Then you need 1/4 cup of sugar and a teaspoon of salt. You put that in your bread maker and you press the dough and press start. And that takes about 1.5 hours to go through the cycle. Now this makes 2 loaves of bread. What you're going to do is when it's finished with the cycle, you bring out the dough. You need to cut it in half because you're going to make 2 loaves. Okay, and then with one of them, you roll out the dough like a snake. So you're going to braid it. Okay, so roll that out. Now the differences between all-purpose flour and bread flour is protein content. That's one thing. The protein in the bread flour, it activates the gluten. It makes it more elastic and creates more air pockets, from what I did research on. And the other thing is that the cost is different. Bread flour cost me 68 cents a pound, and the all-purpose flour was about 27 cents a pound. So I've been making this bread for about 15 years, and I've been using all-purpose flour mostly because I'm thrifty. So I choose to use the less expensive flour. But then, so this is, you braid it like you would just hair. Once you're done with that, you take another egg and you beat the egg it's going to glaze the top of your bread. So you take that and you glaze it. Once you're doing that, you're going to let it raise. You preheat your oven to 375. So you roll out the dough, you braid it, and then you raise it for 20 to 30 minutes. Once you've glazed it with the egg, you're going to take some poppy seeds, and you do that for decor. The other thing you can do with this bread is you can add rosemary to it instead of the poppy seeds and just glaze it. That tastes really good as well in this recipe. So once you've done that, you're going to put a rag over the top. And once again, let it raise for 20 to 30 minutes. And like I said, you do that while your oven is preheating. This is about halfway through the raising process. And then this is your result, or my result. So this one is the bread flour bread, and this one is the all-purpose flour. And like I said, the bread flour, you can tell that it raised a little better, and other than that, and it was easier to work with. It wasn't as sticky. But other than that, they are just nice and crisp. They taste the same. Like I said, I haven't purchased bread flour in many, many years. And that's it. Thanks for watching.